eyes will be on the House of Representatives tomorrow as lawmakers vote on articles of impeachment against President Trump.
And tonight, this debate took center stage at Town Center in Virginia Beach. First, earlier today, the House Rules Committee debated parameters for the vote. With a Democratic majority, both articles of impeachment are expected to pass. The House Judiciary Committee voted to impeach for abuse of power and obstructing Congress. President Trump says he is already preparing for a trial in the Senate.
It's a hoax. The whole impeachment thing is a hoax. We look forward to getting onto the Senate. We're not entitled to lawyers. We're not entitled to witnesses. We're not entitled to anything in the House. It's a total sham.
If the vote passes, President Trump would be only the third president in history to be impeached. Now, this issue brought dozens of Democrats and Republicans out to Virginia Beach tonight, and 10 on your side's Geena Arevalo was there. Things got pretty confrontational at times.
Yeah, guys, very heated. Supporters of impeachment and supporters of President Donald Trump, they got into each other's faces. Now, there were a few Virginia Beach police officers standing nearby, but they did not have to intervene. If there's anything both sides can agree on, it's the feeling of disappointment that a vote on impeachment is looming.
With a history-making decision hanging in the balance, dozens of impeachment supporters rallied together to send a message.
No one's above the law, and certainly the president is not above the law.
Over 100 people chanted and waved signs calling for President Donald Trump to be removed from office.
Not my president! Not my president!
The pattern of decisions and the pattern of choices concerns me on behalf of our president. I think that he has not been ethical and really functioning with integrity in a lot of his decisions.
Concerned citizens and veterans like Michael Fletcher say the Constitution and the future of the country is at stake.
The rule of law is just totally fundamental to any free country, and that's being challenged right now.
The majority of people in the crowd supported impeachment. However,
they shut conservatives down when they have a voice, so I came out here to show my voice for conservatives.
Things got heated as a group of President Trump supporters began exercising their First Amendment rights too. People like Sal Ferreira agree a lot is at stake, but for different reasons.
I believe the Constitution is at stake. It's been a sad thing to bring someone up on charges of impeachment because they hate him.
Those we spoke to who are against impeachment say the president is being treated unfairly.
There has been a movement in this country to try to remove him and hasn't really given him a good chance.
Today, the president shared his thoughts on the vote in a scathing letter to the Speaker of the House. In it, he slammed Democrats and cast himself as a victim of an attempted coup. He is not expected to deliver any type of formal speech tomorrow. Geena, Arevalo, 10 on your side.
Some good news for President Trump on the eve of what could be a defining moment in his presidency. A new USA Today poll finds the commander-in-chief leads all Democratic candidates in the 2020 race for the White House. 1,000 people were questioned about their voting preferences last week. The results indicate the president's base remains supportive.